welcome back to me being cheap. This is a garden tour update. This is actually my flower bed, which I have really only had nothing but a whole bunch of crabgrass. Now Michael and I took a torch, burned along the edge, and burnt out a lot of the grass in here, which helped. However, the blackberries, they will recover. They did take a bit of the heat. So in here we have planted some of the other tomato varieties that we got from Baker Creek, and for example this one right down here is Atomic Grape. Those are the ones that make a whole bunch of different wild and crazy colors. So we have just some tomatoes planted through here, and then I have a couple, well, it looks like this one probably died, but anyway, these are paste tomatoes. And then over here, where these red cups are, this is like a Russian black tomato. And they were not doing too good. I had them started from seeds, but something was totally eating those. But these blackberries, it started out as one vine, and wherever these vines lay down, they grow. And so I actually had one that was coming out between the rocks. That one I'm sure will grow back. And I took some of the transplants and put them over there where those tomato cages are. Now if we come around on this side, excuse me, I have blanket flowers growing outside of the flower bed. And come over here, and we have some more of the Atomic tomatoes. I have some strawberry plants that I planted a couple years ago. This is a moonflower. It grows really big. We gotta make a trellis for it. And then over here, we actually have some strawberries that are ripe. They need to be picked. Another moonflower. Okay, so we'll come over here to the hay bale garden. Oh, and by the way, in those flower beds, we're going to plant some pumpkins and some more beans and squash. So onions are going crazy over here, cabbages and so forth. And tonight we actually picked some of the leaves off of these Napa, or these Chinese cabbages, to cook in a recipe. And they did get pretty torn up by the bugs, as you saw in the last video. And we do have onions growing in here as well. I'm curious again to see which onions are going to be bigger, either the bulbs or the sets. Over here, radishes are going crazy. Again, 4 varieties. We have the red radish, the icicle, the daikon, and one other variety. You can see down here where the hay bales are actually starting to sink in from decomposing. These are the beans. I think these are speckled butter beans. It was some sort of big bean. Okay, we have pepper plants over here. Like I showed you last week, we do have a couple coming on. Again, these hay bales are starting to sink in. These carrots are going a little wild. And over here, these are tomatoes, and they're starting to flower. But actually, what's pretty cool is we are starting to get tomatoes. There's one, and there's actually quite a few in here. There's another. So yeah, we're starting to get tomatoes. That's pretty exciting. We have more tomatoes over here. And pepper plants, again, these were all started from seed. And we have had some crazy weather out here in the Midwest. Somebody asked on my last video where I'm at. So I'm in Kansas, south central Kansas, so in the Wichita area to be more specific. But you can see those hay bales are starting to decompose. Those are tomatillas over there by those peppers. Okay, moving along over here to the potatoes. In my last video I showed you that they were not doing well at all. And in fact, they look like they're starting to die. And I asked if you guys had any advice for me. I think part of the problem is they're ready to be picked. I don't know if you can see that or not, but the potatoes are actually sticking out of the ground. So I was going to harvest these past weekend, but we ended up getting a lot of rain, so that didn't happen. These potatoes really need to be hilled, but I'm out of dirt, so I think I'm going to go ahead and dig what I got and maybe replant some more, but only use half the space, and then reserve the other dirt for hilling the potatoes when the plants get bigger. Again, horseradish is going wild. And then over here are purple sweet potatoes. And they're finally starting to do something. You can see the vines here. And then I wanted to show you guys a phenomena. I meant to film it last week. Let's see if I can find where it is. I am sinking in here. I actually got potato fruit, which is pretty rare, and it usually happens when the weather's very wet. And I had never seen this before, and I researched it on YouTube, and they're poisonous. Where they went, it's going to show it to you. It's like these little white balls. They're somewhere around here. Yeah, see, these potatoes are just sticking up out of the ground. They really need to be harvested. Put that on the to-do list for this weekend. Yeah, I can't see it. Really wish I would have showed you guys last weekend. It's actually pretty rare, but it's potato fruit. They were little white balls. Okay, we'll walk around back here. We've had some rain, and rain barrels are filled up again, which is nice. Plants like the rain water better than they do the tap water. I need to get back here and mow. All right. So, we've got squash and zucchini, several varieties on this end. We replanted here and a couple of the other places where they just didn't come up or something ate them or what have you. This is a zucchini plant, and you can see there's a couple zucchinis down in there. 1, 2. So these are zucchinis and squash. I'll look down here. Let's see, squash. These things outside the garden, these are some greens that were actually planted this winter. They finally started to come up. We tried cooking some of them, and they were pretty bitter. I'm guessing because the leaves were pretty old. So we do have some greens here that are a little smaller, and we'll probably cook some of these and freeze the others. I want to show you down here, this is a turnip greens, and we're actually starting to get a nice size turnip down there. And actually a little more over here as well. The corn is going crazy. So they say knee-high by the 4th of July. Well, we are past the 4th of July. And this stalk right here, this tassel, is probably as tall as me. I'm 5 feet 4 inches. And so far so good. Do have a little bit of spots here. I need to do some research to see what that is. But we have 3 varieties of corn. Again, this is the peaches and cream down here on this end. Let's step back here. So we have peaches and cream down here. And this is the glass gem. We got this from Baker Creek. It's pastel variety of corn that's kind of clear. It looks like glass. And then down here on the very end is native red, bloody butcher, some sort of corn. It's supposed to grow really tall. However, I had a very low germination rate, probably because the seeds are old. Down here, we have beans. These were supposed to be bush beans, and we actually went back and looked at the envelope to confirm this, but they really are taking off like a pole bean, so we'll probably have to stake these or trellis them. But these are a purple bean, and you cook them like a green bean, and they have a very mild flavor. We've eaten them. They're actually pretty good. Here we have okra. The ones in the back are red okra, and then we have one green okra plant growing. I have replanted and have seedlings in the house, so we'll get this replanted. This is a weed, and I think this is an edible weed. I'm going to let it grow out a little bit bigger. The leaves look similar to a watermelon, and the fruit that it puts on, I believe it's in the squash family, but it kind of looks like a watermelon on the outside. And I'm going to let this go and see if it makes some of those native squash. But it's a weed. I did not plant it. It just happened to come up in the garden. All right, moving over here. "12 varieties of melons. Not sure which ones are coming up. But we're getting quite a few runners out here. So Michael and I are going to run some fencing between the T-post so we can trellis up these melons. Oh, we have one that's all the way out here. 12 varieties. Again, not sure which ones are coming up. This one right here is some kind of watermelon, and this one over here is some kind of watermelon. And as you can see, we had quite a few that died. Don't know if we'll replant those or not. We have cucumbers here, and we actually have quite a few of this variety. This plant right here is doing quite well, so pretty excited about that. Several varieties, I could not tell you what they are. I'd have to go in and look at the package. I'm actually not sure which ones took and which ones didn't. You kind of lose track after a while. These beans in these pots are the yard-long beans. These are the ones that they grow pretty significant. This down here, kind of excited about this. This is a purple ube, sweet potato from the Philippines, and it's finally starting to sprout. It's the second go round on trying to get one of those to grow. Those are supposed to be a little bit more healthy for you as far as stabilizing blood sugars. And I've tasted them before, and they've got actually a very pleasant sweet taste to them. These white birds are our meat birds. We bought the eggs off of eBay. Hatched them in the incubator. Only got 5. I think they're going to be dispatched next weekend. The brown chicken is she gets picked on by the other girls over there, so we've got her in her own place. But anyway, I'm pretty excited to see these yard-long beans. The quail, we have been getting between, on a good day, 8 and 10 eggs per day. But when it gets hot, we only get about 3. So it's kind of hit or miss with them. We've got a batch of quail eggs in the incubator right now, and they should be hatching any day now if they actually hatch. We had a little incident where the town lost power for several hours, so it's kind of hard to say whether or not they're going to hatch or not. Here's my egg birds, and right now they're getting the scraps from cooking dinner tonight. But they're mean to the other chickens, so they're separated. I'll come over here. We got more of these moonflowers. We're going to have them grow up the fence on the chicken pen. Another one over here. And then over here we have loofah gourds growing up here. And those are actually edible. in their early state. But if you wait and dry them out, they actually make those loofah, which you can use for bathing or for scrubbing pots. And this one has gone crazy. It's all the way to the top. And it wasn't but earlier this week that I had put it on here, and it was like maybe to right here, not even up to the wood. So these things are just going crazy. Okay, well, I think that's it on the garden tour for this week. Things are starting to come around. Need to mow the grass again. I've got trees coming up from tree roots, making it look a mess, so I've got to do something with those. Anyway, thanks for watching.